Racetrack Network. 12 big dashes of harness racing this afternoon, including the $50,000 Dairy Queen Futurity final for two-year-old pacing colts coming up here today. We also have a $4,000 consolation event in race number 8 in the Dairy Queen. And Investors Group has sponsored an open pace, a very competitive race coming up in race number 11 here today. We don't have a change until race number 4, and we're getting set now to show you the starters here in the first race of the afternoon. So I'll come back after the post parade and give you all the changes on today's card. Hope you have the best of luck all afternoon long. Again, lots of racing action here and just a great day. I'll guarantee you one thing, they're not going to have the same kind of weather in New York City tonight as we're enjoying here in the port city of New Brunswick. So whether you're joining us from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia or Woodstock, New Brunswick.
Horse 1 is Wee Maud, owned by Deborah Kirkpatrick and Ron Robertson. The driver is Bill Robertson. 2, Mystic Maven. He's owned and driven by Brian Moore of St. John. The 3, Keyed Up, owned by Ken Norwood, the driver Sam Hodgin Jr. The 4 is Chatham Knight, owned by Ken Fram of Moncton, Frank Fagan in the sulky. The 5, Crafty Frank, owned by Robert Hume of Woodstock, the driver Steve Mahar. 6, Swingin' Sue Down, owned by Mark Haig of St. John, the driver Tony Haig. 7, Triple Take, owned by Don Bishop of Fredericton, the driver John Davidson. And horse 8, Prime Grand, owned by John and John Charles Beliveau of Dieppe, Gilles Berriot in the sulky. 8 starters here for race number 1, first of 12 this afternoon, and we go to post in about 9 minutes.
4 minutes to post time now for the first of 12 dashes on this afternoon's card, and I'll give you the changes now. The first one, as I mentioned, comes up in the 4th race of the afternoon. Race number 4, we have a driver change, and it's on horse number 4, Calhoun Clipper. Lonnie Stokes will be in the bike today. That's Lonnie Stokes with the catch drive on the 4-entry Calhoun Clipper in race number 4. Now, the next change doesn't come up until race number 8, and that is the consolation in the Dairy Queen Futurity this afternoon. A couple of scratches here. Number 2, Longworth Spirit, is a vet scratch due to sickness, so scratch the 2 horse. He will be replaced by Chabred from the also eligible list. Steve Mahar will drive that horse. For wagering purposes, refer to Chabred as horse number 9, but he will leave from post number 2. Another scratch in the 8th race is horse number 8, Woodmere Top Cat, a judge's scratch here today, and he is also being replaced by a horse off the AE list, Azeri, with Albert Bernard. If you like Azeri in this race, wager on him as horse number 10, but again, he'll be leaving from post position number 8. In the 9th race today, number 5, Grammar Girl, is the judge's scratch. Scratch the 5-horse Grammar Girl in race number 9, and again, we have a horse coming off the AE list here to keep it at a field of 8 starters. Riverside Marcy will be going in place of Grammar Girl. For wagering purposes, Riverside Marcy is horse 9, but again scoring from post position number 5. In race number 10 today, scratch horse 3, No Ordinary Joe. No replacement for him. No Ordinary Joe is a vet scratch due to sickness. And we also have a driver change for you to report in the 10th race. It's on horse 5, Sit and Wave. Sean Shannon will get the steer in place of Charlie Miles. That's Sean Shannon holding the lines of horse 5, Sit and Wave in the 10th. Race number 11 is the Investors Group Open Pace. It's been reduced to a field of 6. The 6th horse, Philip Down, has been scratched. He's a judge's scratch today. That's Philip Down, the 6th entry in race number 11, out. And in race number 12, the $50,500 final in the Dairy Queen Futurity this afternoon, number 4, Noah, very disappointing for the Webby family. He has been scratched due to sickness. The scratch today is number 4, Noah, but that's good news for the owners of Woodmere Top Cat. He's coming in off the also eligible list. We mentioned earlier he scratched out of the consolation, gets a shot to go for the big money in the final, and Steve Mahar will be driving Woodmere Top Cat from post number 4. For wagering purposes, again, he will be horse number 9 in the final. Now, race number 1 is an interesting event here, a conditioned race for non-winners of 3 and 4, and 5, 3, and 7, the way that I like this one. Crafty Frank, a bit of a disappointment last week. He did not make the grade for the Dairy Queen Futurity here today, but he's got a ton of speed. He's got wins in 2:02, and I'll look for Crafty Frank to win in here. Keyed Up is my second pick, and I'll also go with Triple Take from the outside. So we're all set now to send you to track announcer Ingham Palmer for the first of 12 dashes today. Wish you luck with your selections, and hope you're enjoying all the great action on a great day. Just lots of sunshine and not much of a breeze here at all at EPR.
behind the gate. Gate is moving, approaching top of the stretch. There's Wee Maud and Bill Robertson, Mystic Maven, Brian Moore. Keyed up, Sam Hodgen, Chatham Knight, Frankie Fagan, Crafty Frank, Steve Mahar, swinging two down, Tony Haig. Triple Take with John Davidson, Prime Grand, Jill Berrio. Here they come. They're off and rushing for the top. It is Crafty Frank and swinging two down, up and at him on the outside. Bidding for the top as they go into the turn and swinging two down. Is the leader. That's Prime Grand racing up on the outside now second. Crafty Frank is third at the rail as he leaves the eighth pole. Triple Take racing fourth. Then Keyed Up on the outside racing fifth. Wee Maud, Mystic Maven, and Chatham Knight trailing the field as they drive on to the quarter pole and up front. It is Prime Grand. He's the leader by the opening quarter in 30 seconds. Prime Grand swinging two down. Crafty Frank is racing third. Triple Take is fourth. Keyed Up is fifth. Then we go to Wee Maud, Mystic Maven, and Chatham Knight trails. They're by the 3/8 and swinging off the top turn. Here they come through the stretch, racing to the half, and the leader is Prime Grand, swinging two down. A second, Crafty Frank. Triple Take, Keyed Up. Then Wee Maud, Mystic Maven, and Chatham Knight by the half and two, and Prime Grand, the leader, into the turn. There goes Crafty Frank. Out from third to challenge. Round the turn, Prime Grand swinging suit down. Crafty Frank on the outside, racing third. Triple Take is fourth. Keyed Up is fifth. Then we go to Mystic Maven, Wee Maud, and Chatham Knight, and it's on to the three-quarter pole, and Prime Grand. Little leader for two, swinging two down with Crafty Frank on the outside, hanging third. They're by the three-quarter pole, 132 and 2. Top turn, Prime Grand, looking good. Leads now by 2.5. He's moving away. Then swinging two down and Crafty Frank. Now Crafty Frank to second. Swinging two down at the rail is third. Keyed Up is fourth. Heading home it is Prime Grand. Crafty Frank coming to him. Swinging two down is racing third. But Prime Grand is going to hold to win this one. And off the line it is Prime Grand swinging two down, back on for second. Crafty Frank Keyed Up. Then Triple Take, Chatham Knight, Mystic Maven, and Wee Maud. Time for the mile, 2:02 and 2. Apparating now the winner of our first race, number 8, Prime Grand, a Bay Colt 3 by Matt Scooter from Prime Time Lady. She by Cam Fella, owned by Jean and John Charles Bellevue of Dieppe. Trained by Sean Bellevue with Jill Barrio driving. The colt gets his fourth winning trip this season, winning this afternoon 2:02 and 2. The result of the first race now official. First race official. Wee Maud was 8th. Mystic Maven 7th. Keyed Up was 4th. Chatham Knight 6th. Crafty Frank 3rd. Swingin' Sue Down was 2nd. Triple Take 5th. At Prime Grand, your race winner. Times the quarter 30 seconds, the half 102, 3/4 132 and 2, and the mile at 202 and 2. Card should breed 874 63 251. The mile 22 and 2, and we're all set now for our second race.
Here's in race number 2, race 2, a condition big. Tempered, owned by Anna and Percy Grant, the driver John Davidson. The 2, Northwind Sandy, owned by Joyce Mackin of Fredericton. The driver is Gordy Hennessy. 3, the Free-Legged Pacer, Bar Harbor, owned by Hubert Thornton. The driver is Tim Merzetti. The 4 is Time to Fight, owned by Ron Wallace. Tony Watson, the driver. The 5, another Free-Legged, Bellman's Dream, owned by Bernie Charlton of Dartmouth. Danny Romo in the sulky. 6, Jabulani, owned by Inez Delaney. The driver, Gilles Berriol. The 7 is Tough Ender, owned by Joe Lindsay of St. Stephen. The driver, Steve Mahar. Horse 8 is Markham's Tech. Lonnie Stokes drives for the owner, Bob Fitzgerald of St. John. 8 starters here in race number 2. You've got about 8 minutes now at the betting windows.
We're joined by a man who you simply cannot keep away from a racetrack when there's a big event going on. Doug Harkness, the editor of Atlantic Post Calls, is with me today. Doug, you've had some bad luck over the last week or so, but a pretty good trip today.
Yeah, we had good drivers today, and Ken Sterton, and he got us here all right. We stayed within the post anyway.
What about the Dairy Queen final coming up today? There's a horse coming off the also eligible list. That's got to be a big thrill for those owners.
I just talked to those owners in the backstretch, and they're very, very happy. In fact, Woodmere Topcat really deserved a chance to race in the final. A big, big trip here last Saturday, and just didn't quite get up. And when you see a horse race that well, he certainly deserved a chance in the final. Too bad for the Webbies. They've been major contributors to maritime racing, but their horse was sick and a little lame, too.
Okay, so Noah, again, the 4 horses scratched out of that Dairy Queen final, and Woodmere Topcat, owned by Lloyd and Amy Denton of Fredericton, is in, and it's really a wide open field, so we'll get a chance to analyze that a little bit more. For now, we're going to analyze race number 2, which is a pretty good condition class here.
Nice condition class, nice bunch of horses, and I went with the Free-Legged horse, Jabulani. This horse has always been a nice aged horse, and when he gets in a class where he fits, and he said this is his 9th start now, and I think this horse should be ready to round into form. I liked him last week. He came up with a dull effort, but I think he fits this class fairly nicely. I like the horse off the rail, High Tempered. John Davidson back. The Cowboy is one of the better drivers at EPR, has been on the main circuit this year, and he has a High Tempered 9-year-old that should like his post in leaving. And I got to go to Steve Mahar. Stevie Wonder always seems to be hot on big days here, and he has Tough Ender from post number 7, but I think he gets on the ticket. So I like the 6, 1, and the 7.
Okay, Doug, you mentioned John Davidson, and for people who have been following us this summer and aren't too familiar with drivers, John Davidson's a very capable guy. He had a horse called Glengyle Galaxy in the Invitational Circuit not so long ago.
Yes.
And he'll get the job done, I think, today from the rail with Percy Grant's horse out of Woodstock. The folks at Bleachers are going to be cheering him on today. High Tempered was parked to the half in 101 and 2 last week, and this is a horse who's been a very, very classy horse over the years. He's got a mark of 157 and change, which he took at Connell Park in Woodstock just a couple of years ago, and I like his chances off the rail. I'm going to go with a horse out of Rick Beattie's stable. Number 2, Northwind Sandy, is generally a consistent pacer. He's had some tough time winning this year, just 1 win out of 22 starts, but Gordy Hennessy gets the catch drive today out of the Rick Beattie barn. And Tim Merzetti, another one from that Beattie stable, will drive my 3rd choice, Bar Harbor, another Free-Legged pacer here. And I'm going to look for him to get good position early and have a shot at the win.
Yeah, he has got good gate speed.
He's one of those horses that's always seemed to be in contention. So we'll have Doug back throughout the day here. You get a look at Brent's picks as well. Brent not able to join us today, but he'll be back next week, we're sure. And good luck with your selections here in race number 2.
The race moving in behind the gate. Gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch. 8 starters. High Tempered, John Davidson. Northwind Sandy, Gord Hennessy. Bar Harbor, Tim Mercetti. Time to Fight, Tony Watson. Belden's Dream with Danny Romo. Jabulani, Gilberto. Tough Fender, Steve Mahar. Markham's Tech, Lonnie Stokes. Here they come. They're off and high temper. Takes him out of there. Bar Harbor up on the outside, challenging second. Northwind Sandy ducks to the rail. He's racing second there. Bar Harbor his third. Time to Fight racing fourth. Jabulani outside fifth. That is Bellin's Dream. Tough Fender. Markham Stack. Up the backstretch for the quarter now. And High Tempered cuts it out. Leads by 2.5. Northwind Sandy racing second. Bar Harbor on the outside hangs a third. Time to Fight's racing a fourth. Jabulani outside is fifth. By the opening quarter, 29-2. The red of the top turn. It is High Tempered, but 2.5. Northwind Sandy. Bar Harbor's found the rail. He's third there. Time to Fight is racing fourth. Jabulani outside fifth. Then Bellin's Dream, Tough Fender, Markham second. Through the stretch they come. They're racing to the half. Up front and cutting it out. It is High Tempered. Leading by 3 now. Northwind Sandy, Bar Harbor. Jabulani's on the outside going on by the half and 59-3 in the red of the turn. On to the 5/8 now. High Tempered. Northwind Sandy, Bar Harbor. Time to Fight. Jabulani Park. Bellin's Dream, Tough Fender, and Markham's Tech by the 5/8 up the backstretch for the 3/4 pole. High Tempered. Bar Harbor on the outside, now to second. Northwind Sandy third. Time to Fight moving fourth. Jabulani fifth. That is Bellin's Dream, Tough Fender, Markham's Tech. 1:29-2 into the top turn. It is High Tempered leading by 6 now. High Tempered by himself. Bar Harbor second. Northwind Sandy off stride into Bellin's Dream and interfering with Markham's Tech. At the head of the lane, it is all High Tempered moving away. Bar Harbor his second. Time to Fight coming on. Jabulani fourth. But it's going to be all High Tempered, all by himself at the line. High Tempered. Then Jabulani up for second to Bar Harbor. Time to Fight, Tough Fender, Markham's Tech, Bellin's Dream, and on the run, Northwind Sandy. The time for the mile, 2 minutes and 2/5. Judges have posted the inquiry sign. The reason there, Northwind Sandy off stride as the field approached the 7/8 pole. That's the reason for the inquiry. Number 2, Northwind Sandy off stride as the field approached the 7/8 pole. And parading now, the winner of the second race, number 1, High Tempered, a bay horse, 9 years. He's by High Kitty from Tempered Ribbon, she by Tempered. Owned by Anna and Percy Grant of Woodstock. Trained by Percy Grant with John Davidson driving. The horse getting his second winning trip this season, and it's his season's best. Winning this afternoon in 2 minutes and 2/5.
And parading now with the studders in race 3. It's a condition pace going for a purse of $900. Horse number 1 is Noble Ideal, owned by Murray Calder of Rossay. The driver, Gilles Barrio. The 2 is After the Laughter, driven by Brian Moore for the owner, Mel Blanchard of St. John. The 3, Lighting, owned by Ron Legier of Riverview. The driver is Gordy Hennessy. 4, the Free-Legged Pacer, Just Ed, owned by Ed Harvey. The driver, Lonnie Stokes. 5 is Why Worry Us, owned by Clifford Garland of Carbonear, Newfoundland. The driver, Steve Mahar. 6, Sammy Motoring. He's owned and driven by Ron McClenahan of Chatham. 7, Point and Click, owned by Ashley Sloat. The driver, Bob Kraft. Horse number 8 is Woodmere Genie, owned by Brian Foster of Hampton, John Davidson in the sulky. 8 starters here in race number 3. We go to post in about 7 minutes.
Maritime Teletrack Network from St. John, New Brunswick today. Tomorrow, of course, Doug Truro Raceway has a pretty good card of harness racing on. They start at 1:30.
1:30, 12 dashes tomorrow afternoon. A nice open class race with Scotty J and that bunch, and to say a 12 dash card, 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. Yep.
And if you're in the mood for live racing in Nova Scotia, there's some of that as well if you care to take a little trip.
Yes, Inverness Raceway hosts its first ever Atlantic Sire Stakes Championship tomorrow. They have the 3-year-old fillies going there for the championship division. The Duck Molly, a horse that Bob Hume owns from Woodstock, has been the top point getter, and she leads from post number 5. Island Quisset and Woodmere Connie, all the good ones are in that race, so that'll decide the divisional championship there.
Alonzo LeBlanc's filly Second Bell has drawn the rail in that event. They're going for a purse of $17,400 at Inverness, so that's going to be big for them.
Yeah, this is the time of year when you decide our championships, and of course next Saturday here on the network and at EPR we have the 2-year-old fillies, and they had their final leg last Thursday night at Truro Raceway. Alan Ribbon winning, close to $50,000 for that filly. And Fussy's Girl Grace won the other division, so that'll be an interesting race here next Saturday.
Just great to have all these big events coming up late in the season.
Yeah.
Pretty fast track here, too, today with the old horse in that last race going in 2 minutes and 2/5. It's a pretty good oval.
Oh, yeah. He's an old High Kitty, and High Kitty was a tough old campaigner that raced late into his career. I think he raced till he was 14, so he was a tough old bird, and so is High Tempered.
Something to watch there, too. Maybe, as we mentioned, John Davidson, certainly a very capable driver, and he'll be back on several dashes here today. But we'll give race number 3 a shot now. Doug, tell me what you like in here.
Well, I'm going to go with the hot driver here, and Jill Berrio off the rail. Jill has already won one today, and he rallied Jabulante to get second. Jill kind of wins them in bunches, and from the post position number 1 with Noble Idea. I like him here. A horse that's a bit doubtful, but came up with a big trip last week for John Davidson. Gets the drive today. Gordy Hennessy drove him last week. He has a Woodmere Genie. You fellows liked him last week. From post number 8 and going up in class, he'll have a tougher job, but I think he'll be on the ticket. And the other horse I like here, it was a decision between the 5 and the 7. Point and Click is a horse that Ashley Sloat has that started the season on the OJC. I think he fits this class fairly decently, and he gets Bob Kraft today, and even from post 7, I think he gets on the ticket.
Yeah, Point and Click had to qualify here just last week, and so that makes me a little wary of him, but I'm going to drop the gloves with you on this one, Doug, and disagree a little. I like number 3, Lighting. Gordy Hennessy is certainly more than capable driver. This horse got a very tough trip last week, being parked to the half in 1 minute and 2/5 from post position number 6. He draws inside today, and that gives me some confidence that he'll have a little bit better trip. Before that mile, he was pretty consistent, going in 2:02 and 2:01. That may be enough to get the job done today, but who knows what this big Gene Colt has in store for him. John Davidson, as Doug mentioned, gets the drive, and he's been a good acquisition so far for Brian Foster. They had some difficulty getting him sorted out right after purchasing him from Bob Greer of Woodstock, but it looks like this horse is primed.
Showed lots of step last week.
He sure did. And my third selection here is going to be After the Laughter with Brian Moore. He's down in class, so I'll look for him to get a good seat early in the mile and maybe have some sting coming home. He showed some last quarters in 30 seconds and change. So
out of a nice mare, a Niatros mare last week, and a yearling this year that Tom McMaster had in Kentucky sold for I think 23,000. So some breeding here.
He's got some license to be in the ticket too, After the Laughter. So there you see it, the picks for this race. Brent's, Doug's, and my own, and we give you the very best of luck making your selections here in race number 3.
Now the starters for the third race. Moving in behind the gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch, 8 starters. Noble Ideal with Jill Berrio. After the Laughter, Brian Moore. Lighting with Gordy Hennessy. Just Dead, Lonnie Stokes. Why Worry Us with Steve Mahar. Sammy Motoring, Ron McClanagan. Point and Click with Bobby Kraft. Woodmere Genie, John Davidson. Here they come. They're off, and Lighting grabs the top up on the outside. Why Worry Us going forward and along the rail. Noble Ideal is racing third. Sammy Motoring up on the outside. After the Laughter, Just Dead. And Point and Click at Woodmere Genie, and they by the 8th pole now. Up on the outside, Warriors takes the top. Lighting is racing second. Sammy Motoring's on the rail now. And he's racing third. Noble Ideal is fourth. After the Laughter his fifth. That is just dead. There goes Woodmere Genie. Point and Click now trails by the opening quarter. 29 at one top turn. Warriors a length and a half. Then Lighting racing second. Sammy Motoring third. Noble Ideal out to challenge now from fourth. After the Laughter takes cover behind him fifth. Then it is Woodmere Genie just dead. Point and Click trails. They come through the stretch. On to the half and pacing with the lead. Warriors. Noble Ideal up on the outside bidding for the top as they go racing out by the half and 101 at one into the turn. They drive out of the 5/8 pole. The leader Warriors. Noble Ideal outside second. At the rail, Lighting is third. After the Laughter follows cover fourth, and out three wide now goes Woodmere Genie to rush on. And after the Laughter's out three wide, that puts Woodmere Genie four wide. They go four wide to the three-quarter pole. After the Laughter now takes the top. Woodmere Genie strong on the outside, four wide. On now to second, 131 and 3 by the three-quarters top turn. After the Laughter, Woodmere Genie, they're neck and neck as they swing to the 7/8 pole. On the inside, after the Laughter, on the outside, Woodmere Genie heading home. After the Laughter, Woodmere Genie turning it on. After the Laughter, Woodmere Genie coming on, but it's going to be after the Laughter, Woodmere Genie coming on at the line. After the Laughter, Woodmere Genie, Lighting tight for fourth, fifth, and sixth between Point and Click. Noble Ideal by Warriors. Then Sammy Motoring, still to come, just Ed. Time for the mile, 2:01 at 1. And parading now, the winner of our third race, number 2 After the Laughter, Bay Horse 4, a Dragon's Lair from last weekend. She by Nia Trots. Owned and trained by Mel Blanchett of St. John with Brian Moore driving. After the Laughter getting his fourth winning trip this season, winning this afternoon in 2:01 at 1. After the Laughter with Brian Moore.
And parading now the starters for race number 4. It's a condition pace going for a purse of $600. You have 8 minutes for wagering. 8 minutes. Number 1 is Nellie Banks, owned and driven by Tony Haig of St. John. The 2, Stargaze Time, owned by Gerald Alexander, the driver Leroy Vincent Jr. The 3, Rasputin's Dream, owned by Howard Spalding of Hampton, the driver is Sean Shannon. 4, Calhoun Clipper, owned by R.G. Kyle of Moncton and M.D. Cormier, the driver. Note the driver changed to Lonnie Stokes. The 5, Hard Drive Hacker, owned by Aubrey Wood. The driver is Steve Mahar. 6, Hillview Joe, owned by Ron Robertson, Bill Robertson aboard. 7, Cranbrough Roy, owned by Percy Gran of Woodstock. The driver Frankie Fagan. And horse 8, Norwell Raider, owned by Bob Tate of Salisbury, Brian Moore in the sulky. 8 starters here for race number 4. We go to post in about 7 minutes.
Post time now for race number 4 in the afternoon, and really good trip there by After the Laughter. And if you checked over my shoulder there just a second ago, you saw a fellow that had a connection with that horse.
Yeah, Tom McMaster sold one at Kentucky out of that Niatros mare, and went to good hands, apparently going to a Florida trainer. So it's nice to see we can breed them in this country, too, as well.
Yeah, tough trip for the big Gene colt in that race. Woodmere Genie.
Yeah, John Davidson didn't leave with him. He took the tuck early, but and was parked out most of the way, but just about got the job done. He's going to be a nice colt.
Again, we want to mention the big feature coming up this afternoon is in race number 12, $50,000 final of the Dairy Queen Futurity for 2-year-old colts, and the consolation coming up in race number 8. They go for $4,000 in there, and we just had a look at Emmons McKay's colt out warming up. He looks pretty good.
Yes, the horse that the Paris Dexter colt,
Lucky Louie
Lutz, and Emmons has that one for Watson Piers, and Watson, of course, is no stranger to the Dairy Queen races or the NBA races with Kilkerran Ferry, of course, throughout the years, a winner of over 200,000.
So we'll look for Emmons in the consolation, but right now we'll look to race number 4.
Well, a colt, you know, that's always had a hard luck career, is the Quality Blue Chip colt, a hard drive hacker, trained by veteran Aubrey Wood. This colt's come back from injuries and what have you, and I kind of like him. I think this is the class of non-winners of a ham sandwich last couple of starts, and hard drive hacker might fit this class fairly decently. I'm going to the outside 8 post for a horse, Norwell Raider. He qualified second to Point and Click, who got up for 4th last time after a tough start in that last race. Norwell Raider raced against some good horses, Cupid Star, Pepper Allen, good company in Truro, and I think he fits this class fairly decently. And Gerald Alexander's Stargaze Hanover colt, Stargaze Time from post number 2, I think will be on the ticket too. So I like the 5, 8, and the 2.
All right, Stargaze Time is actually going to be my pick to win this race, Doug. He's got 5 wins so far this season, has taken a mark of 204, and to me, again, I'm going to go back to the inside post position, but he's got enough gate speed to make the front and should have his way in here. You'll notice as well that just 5 starts ago, he raced a lot tougher class than this, going for $800 purse. My second pick is going to be Hillview Joe with the young driver Billy Robertson, who you notice has a provisional license, but this filly got off to a good start as a 2-year-old last year.
Yeah, and was in the Dairy Queen Futurity final last year as a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. Ill-fated Joe G. Hanover is the sire of Hillview Joe, and I'm going to go with you, Norwell Raider. $7,000 on his card last year. He was pretty tough.
Yeah, he raced against tough horses. Might point out that just announced up top that the 4-horse Calhoun Clipper doesn't go here, so that makes it Norwell Raider even easier. He moves in a post.
Right. So we'll look for him now. He's going to score from 7. Again, Calhoun Clipper is a late scratch, and all monies wagered on that 4-horse in this race will be refunded at the completion of this 4th race. There you see it. My picks up there along with Doug's and Brent's, and hopefully that'll help you out just a little bit here in the 4th race of the day.
Now the starters for the 4th moving in behind the gate. Gate is moving. Approaching the top of the stretch, Nellie Banks and Tony Haig. Stargaze Time, Leroy Vincent. Rasputin Stream with Sean DeShannon. Hard Drive Hacker with Steve Mahar. Hillview Joe, Bill Robertson. Cranbrough Roy with Frankie Fagan. Norwell Raider, Brian Moore. Here they come. They're off. Rasputin Stream takes him out of there. Up from the far outside, Cranbrough Roy challenging a second. Moving up along the inside, Nellie Banks pacing her way to the top. Now Rasputin Stream again, Nellie Banks racing second. Hard Drive Hacker up on the outside, racing on 3rd as they drive up the backstretch for the quarter, and Hard Drive Hacker bidding for the top. And they are fanning out 3 wide as they drive to the quarter. On the in-between horses, Rasputin Stream up along the inside, Nellie Banks, and Hard Drive Hacker has found the rail, is racing 3rd there, the quarter 30 and 2/5. Into the top turn on the outside, Rasputin Stream along the rail. Nellie Banks is 2nd. Hard Drive Hacker 3rd. Stargaze Time is 4th. That is Cranbrough Roy racing 5th. Norwell Raider Hillview Joe. Through the stretch they come driving onto the half, and it's Nellie Banks again. She's the leader from the inside. Rasputin Stream hanging second. Hard Drive Hacker up on the inside, not a second. Rasputin Stream going to the rail is a third. They're by that half, 101 at 1. Into the turn now for the 5/8, Nellie Banks. Hard Drive Hacker, Rasputin Stream. Cranbrook Roy racing fourth. Stargaze Time moving fifth. Hillview Joe at Norwell Raider. Onto the three-quarter pole they go, and it's Nellie Banks. Hard Drive Hacker, Rasputin Stream with Stargaze Time. Moving on the outside now, gets to third. Rasputin Stream is fourth. Cranbrook Roy is fifth. Norwell Raider, Hillview Joe, 132 and 3 by the three-quarter pole. Top turn, Nellie Banks and Hard Drive Hacker up along the inside. It is Rasputin Stream, and on the outside, Stargaze Time. At the head of the lane, it is Nellie Banks pacing on top. Hard Drive Hacker is second, then Rasputin Stream. It is Nellie Banks. Here comes Hard Drive Hacker, but Nellie Banks will win this. She does. Nellie Banks, Hard Drive Hacker, Rasputin Stream, Hillview Joe, Stargaze Time, Cranbrook Roy, Norwell Raider. Time for the mile, 2:04 and 3. And parading now, winner of our fourth race, number 1, Nellie Banks, Bay Pacing Mare 4 by Harrods from Highland Nellie, she by Carrollton's Knight, owned, trained, and driven by Anthony Haig of St. John. The mare scores her 6th winning trip this season this afternoon, 2:04 and 3. Nellie Banks and Anthony Haig.
It's a $1,500 claiming pace, going for a purse of $700. Horse number 1 is Akadu, owned by Bernie Charlton. The driver is Danny Romo. The 2, Fame's Fashion, owned by Joe Gorman of St. John. The driver, Lonnie Stokes. 3, Bounding Basque, owned and driven by Jeff Lewis of Moncton. The 4 horse is Haggis, owned by Debbie Mahar. The driver, Gordy Hennessy. The 5, Omaha Gambler, owned by George Maye of Moncton. The driver, Gilles Barrio. 6, Nayla's Bobby, owned and driven by Doug Beckwith. 7, Revelation Rose. Revelation Rose, owned and driven by John Davidson of St. John. And horse number 8 is Mystic Ideal, owned by Joanne Fries of St. John, Steve Mahar in the sulky. 8 starters, 5th race, and we go to post in about 7 minutes' time.
Minutes to post time now for race number 5 on the card. And Doug, after my last performance on that race, the only tip maybe I should offer is that the smoked meat sandwiches here at EPR are very, very good.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
just put away one of those, and that was a tough race for me.
It happens too when you have horses that are racing the lower classes, and then sometimes consistency is not their trademark.
No, and that wasn't the case. Consistency certainly wasn't my trademark there either. Race number 5, though, it's a favorite of the bettors here in St. John always, it seems, the cheap claimers, and they have more consistent efforts quite often, and some good early speed in this race, too.
Yes, I can see a battle shaping up here. Omaha Gambler leading from post number 5. Joe Berrio getting this recent claim. I imagine he's going to try to test this 8-year-old, and he'll be in the hunt early from post 5. I see Akadu probably also leaving quicker, and the Famous Fashion likes to lead. But my selection here, he gets the catch drive today of Danny Romo, the leading driver at Turl, and on the rail, Akadu. He's a consistent winner, won 11 races this year, likes to win. Then I go to Haggis, who come up with a big effort last Saturday, last time I saw him race. Finished second, just beaten by 3/4 of a length, making his 3rd start. He should be tight enough. Gordy Hennessy gets this one from post number 4. And then I'm going to the bottom of the card, Mystic Idea with Steve Mahar. This is the 7-year-old big towner, and I think he fits this class pretty decently, too. I would also just throw in is that, as I say, Famous Fashion from 2 and the 5 horse could also be early contenders and might hold on.
Well, you never know, and that's what you bank on here, I guess, at this stage of the race. And I'm thinking the same way as you are. Our picks are identical here, and I do like to envision how the race is going to go. In here, as you mentioned, Famous Fashion and Omaha Gambler, a lot of early speed, and if they duke it out, it's going to be one for the finishers. And Gordy Hennessy, I guess, is getting the drive again on Haggis. That's a key there, and that's why I'm picking her for second. Danny Romo on the 1 horse again, and Mystic Ideal. Doug and I are identical here. We can't find anything to
just take your money just by taking it to the bank.
Well, I wouldn't go quite that far, but we'll see how it all pans out. Hope it works well for you here in the 5th race.
Starters for the 5th race, moving in behind the gate. Gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch for the field of 8. There's Akadu and Danny Romo. Famous Fashion, Lonnie Stokes. Bounding Basque with Jeff Lewis. Haggis, Gord Hennessy. Omaha Gambler, Jill Barrio. Nailers Bobby, Doug Beckwith. Revelation Rose with John Davidson. Mystic Ideal, Steve Mahar. Here they come. We're off an Omaha Gambler, stepping out, Famous Fashion going with him, and along the inside, Akadu. They're 3 wide into the turn, and it is now Akadu, Famous Fashion, Omaha Gamblers 3 wide. They're still at it, nose to nose, as they go by the 8th, and now it is Famous Fashion, Omaha Gambler on the outside, but Famous Fashion stays with him. Akadu is 3rd at the rail. Nailers Bobby's racing a 4th. Bounding Vasquez a 5th. Haggis. Then by the opening quarter in 29-2, they're into the top turn of his Omaha Gambler. Out now by 3 lengths, Famous Fashion 2nd. Akadu is 3rd, and Nailers Bobby is 4th. Haggis comes up on the outside, rushing on at the rail, Bounding Basque. Then Revelation Rose, and the trailer is Mystic Ideal as they come to the half, and it's Omaha Gambler in command under a tight rein. Omaha Gambler the leader by 3.5. By the half in 59-3, they're into the turn for the 5/8. Omaha Gambler showing the way. Famous Fashion is 2nd. There goes Akadu. Moving from 3rd. Nailers Bobby 4th at the rail. Haggis is 5th. Up the backstretch for the 3/4 pole. Omaha Gambler by 3 again. Famous Fashion. Akadu driving 3rd. Nailers Bobby. Haggis tipping out 3 wide. Then Revelation Rose, Bounding Basket, Mystic Ideal. 129-3 by the 3/4 pole. Top turn, Omaha Gambler. Leading now by 3.5. Famous Fashion. Nailers Bobby comes to 3rd. They hit the 7/8, and it is Omaha Gambler by himself heading home. Omaha Gambler And then Naila's Bobby on for second. Fame's Fashion, Bounding Bass going to the inside. But it's going to be Omaha Gambler out alone. And he wins it. Then Naila's Bobby, Bounding Bass. Then Fame's Fashion, I Could Do, tight between Revelation Rose and Mystic Ideal. And Haggis, time for the mile to 1 and 1. Stung going to the quarter, but $350. Number 5, Omaha Gambler, big gelding, 8 years, by Armbro Omaha. From Chestnut Hill, she by Albatross. Now one but George Maye of Moncton, trained by Mike Morris. Jill Barrio driving its win number 15 this year for Omaha Gambler. Winning this afternoon, 201 at 1.
And we prayed for you now. The starters in race number 6. Race 6, a condition pace, going for a purse of $850. Horse number 1 is West Pointer, owned and driven by Roy Dickinson of Fredericton. The 2, Star Trek, owned by Ashley Sloat, G.E. McComb of Windsor Junction, the driver, Bob Kraft. The 3, Miss Speedy Spud, owned by Sherry Lynn Miles, the driver, Lonnie Stokes. The 4 is Hillview Kelly, owned by Stephen Cooper, the driver is Tim Merzetti. 5, Noble Chance, owned by Randy Blanchard of a Pro, the driver John Davidson. 6, the Three-Legged Pacer, Provisions to Win, owned by Bruce Burnham, Robert Tilley, and Gordon Cobham, the driver Gilles Barrio. 7, Edgewater Sambro, owned by Bill Nicholson, the driver Brian Moore. And horse 8, the Three-Legged Pacer, Rambo Derby, owned by Bob O'Brien of Riverview, Steve Mahar in the sulky. 8 starters here for race number 6. They go for a purse of $850. We go to post in about 7 minutes.
Time remaining now before we get set for the 6th race on today's card, but Doug, race number 12 is what we're here to see today. Is it just about as wide open as it could be in the Dairy Queen final? There are a lot of contenders to win this race, I think.
It's an interesting race in that we have a lot of horses like Grampy's Accolade, who's gone throughout the whole season. He was the top horse for many, many weeks, and he's still there at the end of the campaign. Mr. Tom Mack is another horse that's a campaign throughout the whole season. And then we have the what I call the late bloomers, horses like Ornery Dawn, who's in the thing.
Ornery Dawn is a good competitor. He's come on just after 3 starts.
Just 3 starts, lifetime starts, and you know, you have those type of horses in the mix here. So you don't know whether the colt is peaking at the right time or whether the other horses are getting a little tired. So that makes it all the more interesting. And last week it was like the little brown jug. If you drew 1-2, you're in pretty good shape, and post position might be a big key again today.
Right, that's going to be hard on Gilles Barrio's colt. I think Widmere Windrop could be a favorite, but as well he's going to have to look after that 8-hole, and it'll be interesting to see what Gilles decides to do from there.
Now, one thing about Woodrow Winthrop, he's a tremendous horse getting home, and he has more luck getting home than all of them. If he can be on the hunt at the top of the lane, he's going to be a factor. Okay, we'll have a chance to talk to Ken Therrett about this race as well. He's here along with the folks from Dairy Queen, a major sponsor, and they make this race possible here today. We do have a note to pass along here on race number 6. Number 1, West Pointer, is a late scratch. And again, money's wagered on the 1 horse here in this race will be refunded
after the race has been run. So one is out of the running, Doug, but where do you go to from there?
Well, I look at last week's card, Speedy Scud just getting up to win by a nose over Noble Chance. I think they reversed their positions today. Noble Chance moves in to post number 4 because of the scratch of West Pointer. I think John Davison gets the job done with the 5 horse. I like Miss Speedy Scott for second, and I'm going to Hillview Kelly, who I think will get underway pretty well for my third selection here.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good gate speed for Tim Rossetti.
Yes.
Pretty promising young driver here, but I'm going to stay away from her. I do like Noble Chance, as Doug mentioned, John Davidson getting the drive. He's very familiar with this horse. He's driven him on many occasions for Mel Blanchard as the trainer, and John, of course, going to Maine during the summer meet, so he hasn't had a chance to see a whole lot of him lately, but he's very familiar with Noble Chance. Miss Speedy Spud, a 3-race winning streak for her, so it's going to be tough to knock her off. She's in as an optional claimer, and Lonnie Stokes has been having tremendous luck with her finishing up miles. As well, I'm going to go with Provisions to Win for Gilles Barriol. Pretty tough to leave him out of the ticket here, and this is a good three-legged pacer out of Charlottetown.
Yeah, he got a confidence builder in his last start, has raced tougher company, so he should fit too pretty well.
I should say he was owned in Charlottetown before coming here to St. John.
Yeah.
So I like Provisions to Win for that third spot, but Doug and I pretty much sewn up here for 3 and 5, and we'll wish you the best of luck with your selections here in race number 6. Don't forget, coming right up in the 8th race, the consolation of the Dairy Queen Futurity, and also in race number 12, the $50,000 final of this event for the 2-year-old pacing colts.
For the 6th race, moving in behind the gate. Gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch. There's Start Track with Bobby Kraft, Miss Speedy Spud, Lonnie Stokes. Hillview Kelly with Tim Mercetti, Noble Chance and John Davidson. Provisions to Win with Gilles Barriol. Edgewater Sambro, Brian Moore. Rambo Derby, Steve Mahar. Here they come. They're off and pacing to the top. It is Hillview Kelly. She's the leader and up on the outside. Noble Chance drives on the second. Into the turn, Hillview Kelly, Noble Chance racing second. Then at the rail, Star Trek has third. Edgewater Sambros outside racing fourth. Rambo Derby, Miss Speedy Spud. The trailer Provisions to Win, and up the backstretch they go to the quarter. Hillview Kelly cuts it out, leads for 2. Then racing second, Noble Chance, and they are by the opening quarter in 30 and 2/5. Top turn, Hillview Kelly, Noble Chance. Edgewater Sambros on the move. He's up to third on the outside. Then gets to second now. Noble Chance is third at the rail. Rambo Derby outside follows cover fourth. Star Trek fifth at the rail. Then Provisions to Win, Miss Speedy Spud. And they come racing on to the half. Hillview Kelly in command. Has the best of it a length and a half, and up along the inside, Noble Chance. Edgewater Sambro hanging third. By the half, 102 and 1. Into the turn for the 5/8 they go now. It is Hillview Kelly. Noble Chance is second. Edgewater Sambro hanging third. Star Trek fourth. Then it is Rambo Derby up on the outside and 3 wide. There goes Provisions to Win. Racing on from fifth and going on. And now Edgewater Sambro grabs the top. He's the leader. Hillview Kelly is second at 4 wide. Provisions to Win racing third. They're by the 3/4 pole, 133 top turn. Hillview Kelly's coming back on again. Edgewater Sambro has the lead. Hillview Kelly on the inside. Miss Speedy Spud is way, way wide. They're 4 wide and nose to nose as they come heading for home. And on the outside, Miss Speedy Spud, Provisions to Win. Up in between horses now comes Noble Chance. But at the line is going to be Miss Speedy Spud. She wins it. Noble Chance. Then Star Trek, Provisions to Win. Hillview Kelly tight between Edgewater Sambro and Rambo Derby. Time for the mile to 3 and 2. And parading now, winner of our 6th race, it's number 3, Miss Speedy Spud. A bay mare 7 years by Spud from Flaming Honor. She by Right Honor. Owned by Sarah Lynn Miles of St. John, trained and driven by Lonnie Stokes. The mare scores her 7th winning trip this season. It's her 4th in a row. Winning this afternoon to 3-2. Miss Speedy Spud with Lonnie Stokes.
And we parade for you now the starters in race number 7. Race 7 is a $12.50 claimer with allowances going for a purse of $600. Horse number 1 is Lindale Lady. She's owned by Andrew Ward of St. John. The driver is Sean Shannon. The 2, Burton Breeze, owned by John Irvin of the Mouth of Keswick. The driver is Tim Rossetti. The 3 is True Bell Down, owned by Milton Downey of St. John. The driver is Steve Downey. 4, Flying Horace, driven by Lonnie Stokes for the owner Joe Gorman. The 5, Exeter Romar, owned by Kermit Allen and John Davidson of St. John. The driver, Tony Watson. The 6, Ice the Puck, owned by Donald Kerr of St. John. The driver, Rick Armstrong. Horse 7, West River Again, owned and driven by Tony Haig of St. John. And finally, horse 8 is Susie Poozy, owned by Bernie Charlton. Gilles Berrio will drive. 8 starters here in race number 7. Triactor Quinello, win, place, and show. We go to post in about 6 minutes.
7, and the winner of the 6th race, Lonnie Stokes' mare, Miss Speedy Spud, with 4 in a row. She's been very, very tough lately.
Yeah, John Davidson got out late, however, with his horse, and he came on with a bit late charge. He had a good racing room earlier. It might have been a different story, but 4 in a row is good anywhere.
Good anywhere, and especially when you're coming 4 wide around that last turn, the last quarter and 30 seconds.
Good race.
In the 7th race, another good one on the way. $1,250 claimers in here. Doug, who do you like?
Well, Susie Poozy is a horse that has looked like she could handle this class when she raced the 1250 claimers. Last start, she was up in the fillies and mares and disappointed a bit, and before that, up to the 1500 optional. But she's back at the 1250, a class that she's kind of ruled, and though she's leaving from post 8, I don't think that hurts really with this mare from the Chicky Charlton stable. I also like the Burton Breeze. This is a horse that gets home good. You look at his final quarters, they're as good as anybody here. And another horse that has good final quarters when you're looking at the 1250 claimers is the 5 horse Exeter Romar. So I like the 8, 2, and the 5. Okay,
I can go along with you to a degree again here, but the 8 post kind of scares me for Gilles' horse in here. Exeter Romar is my pick to win this race. I'll tell you why. Tony Watson, pretty capable driver. This horse raced in Maine most of the season, and now he's back here in St. John. He finished second, a bang-up second to Ridgefield, the tough 14-year-old last week. Ridgefield's coming to the end of his career at the racetrack, but he turned in a great mile in 2:04.1, and Exeter Romar was right there with him. I'll look for Tony Watson to be a big part of this ticket again. Burton Breeze, as you mentioned, Doug, this is a tough horse.
Yeah, and he can come home good, you know, it's his big point, too. And
he can rough it on the outside. He was also the top claimer of the year at Fredericton Raceway last season. You notice 20 times he finished second, and he's not going to quite make that many trips back this season. He's got 9 seconds, though, not too bad at all, and he can go on the outside or finish the mile, whatever you like. My third pick is going to be the mare driven by Steve Downey out of post number 3, True Bell Down. She's been pretty consistent lately with a lot of charts in 2:05, and that should be enough to get her on the board in here. So
nothing wrong with those Nukes LaBelle mares either.
No, not at all. 8th race is coming up right after this one. That's going to be the consolation of the Dairy Queen Futurity, with Lucky Louie Lutz off the rail again in the 8th. 2 scratches. Longworth Spirit is out. Woodmere Top Cat also scratched. Both of those horses are being replaced by horses off the list. Shawbred and Azeri are in, and we'll tell you a little bit more about those after the post parade for the 8th race. But for now, good luck on your selections here in race number 7.
For the 7th race, they're moving in behind the starting gate. The gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch with 8 starters. For race 7, Lindale Lady, Sean Shannon, Burton Breeze, Tim Rossetti, True Bell Down, Steve Downey, Flying Horace, Lonnie Stokes. Exeter Omar, Tony Watson. Ice the Puck, Rick Armstrong. West River again, Tony Haig. And Susie Poozy. Jill Berrio. Here they come. They're off at Flying Horse. Steps out, takes the early lead. True Bell down, going with him, but up along the inside, Lindale Lady. End of the turn, they're 3 wide for the top at Lindale Lady now. True Bell down, goes to the rails. He's racing second there. Flying Horse works up at the outside. He's driving on third as they go by the 8th, and they're up the backstretch for the quarter. Then Flying Horse goes swinging for the lead and gets to those in front, and up behind him goes West River again. It is Flying Horse, Lindale Lady, West River again, True Belt down as they go by the opening quarter, 30 2/5. Top turn, Flying Horse now by a length. West River again on the outside. Lindale Lady back to second. West River again. True Belt down is 4th. Burton Breeze comes up to follow cover. She's racing 5th there. Exeter Romar, and they swing through the stretch to driving to the half. Ice the Puck and Susie Poozy trail. They come to the half, and it is Flying Horse in command. Lindale Lady, True Belt down. West River again hangs at 4th. Burton Breeze tipping out 3 wide now. They're by that half, 102. End of the turn, they go to the 5/8 pole. It is Flying Horse, Lindale Lady. True Bell down. West River again, Burton Breeze, 3 wide. Racing on from 5th and going on now. Burton Breeze gets to 3rd, and they're on up the backstretch for the 3/4 pole. And Flying Horse has moved out by 3. Burton Breeze driving up 2nd. Lindale Lady, West River again, True Belt down. They are by the 3/4 pole, 133. Out of the top turn, Flying Horse with Burton Breeze closing in on him. She's a strong second. West River again heads to 3rd. Lindale Lady is 4th. Susie Poozy 3 wide 5th. 2 leaders by themselves as they make the turn for home. Flying Horse with Burton Breeze coming on. Flying Horse on the inside, Burton Breeze coming up on the outside. It is going to be tight at the line. It is too tight to call. Burton Breeze and Flying Horse. Exeter Romar up for 3rd. Tight between Lindale Lady, Susie Poozy. True Belt down. West River again, Ice the Puck. Time for the mile, 2:03 and 1. Judges have called for a photo for win between 2 Burton Breeze and 4 Flying Horse. And parading now the winner of the 7th race in a photo, number 2, Burton Breeze, Bay Gelding, 6 by Willow Bird from Hunter Hill Carroll. She by Shaded Vision. Owned by John Irvine of Mouth of Keswick. trained and driven by Tim Mercetti. It's win number 4 this year for Burton Breeze. This afternoon in 2:03 at 1. Burton Breeze and Tim Mercetti. And from the 7th race, Burton Breeze has been claimed by Ed Crokin. Ed.
And we parade for you now, folks. The starters in race number 8. It's the Dairy Queen Consolation for 2-year-old pacing colts. They go for a purse of $4,000. Race, of course, proudly sponsored by Dairy Queen. Number 1, Lucky Louie Lutz, owned by Wathan Piers of Pugwash, the driver Emmons McKay. 2 has been scratched. 3, Blue Meadow Major, owned by Ralph Frizzell of Winslow, the driver Paul McDonald. The 4-horse Clonmel Patterson, owned by the Clonmel Stables, and Ross Galbraith, the driver Gilles Barrio. The 5, Kaya's Pride, owned by Dan and Carolyn McIsaac of Charlottetown, the driver Dave O'Brien. The 6, Doozer, owned by Reg Weatherby of Moncton, the driver Frank Fagan. 7, Dexter's Best, owned by Russell Doyle of Sydney, the driver Earl Smith. The 9 is Chabred, owned by Bob Bonus of Kensington, the driver Steve Mahar, and horse 10 is Azari, owned by Francis Shepard of Cardigan PEI, Albert Bernard in the sulky. 8 starters here for race number 8, the Dairy Queen Consolation for 2-year-old pacing colts. They go for a purse of $4,000. Just a reminder, if you want to bet on horse number 9, Chabred, you bet him as horse number 9, but he will leave from 2. And also Azari will leave from post position number 8, but for betting purposes, you could bet Azari as horse number 10. 7 minutes to post to race number 8.
Now for the consolation event in the Dairy Queen Futurity, and no small consolation at all, going for a purse of $4,000 here this afternoon for the horses that did not qualify for the final. Joining me now, the Secretary-Treasurer of the Maritime Breeders Association, Ken Sterrett, to talk this race up a little bit. And Ken, you were mentioning earlier, you must have gotten your order in for the weather here early, because it's just a tremendous day for October.
Yeah, tremendous day for October. St. John is just great. No fog, anything. Is very clear day. And I think there's a great interest in this teletheater network for these races today. There are a number of horses in from Truro and so on. This consolation is a new thing that we began this year for the pacing events. And some of the tracks were concerned that they wouldn't be able to fill with them, but of course they are. And we've got 8 in the final, 8 in the consolation. They had 2 also eligibles in each. 1 moves up to the final, and 2 drawn from the consolation, and 2 more come in. So it's just a great thing for the tracks as well.
Folks that are joining us on the teletheater network, if they're novices, they'll be wondering how it comes about to have a purse going for $50,000 in the final. Tell me a little bit about how all of that works out.
Well, this begins about 4 years ago when the stallion owners put $40,000 in each year. And we're saying if you bring your mare to one of our stallions, we'll give the offspring a chance to race this kind of money. Today we're looking at a $60,000 day. There's $50,000 in purses, $4,000 in consolation, and there's also $5,000 in breeder awards. So whoever the broodmare owners are, they will, of course, get a 10% of the purse in addition to the purse, which means there are at least 5 or 6 horses in here today that have changed ownership. And so there's a nice little sum to go to the breeders, particularly the winner, who could get $2,500 for the broodmare owner.
That's a tremendous incentive for breeders to become involved and get their colts and fillies signed up for this event.
Sure, it doesn't go to the stallion owners or put the money in. They say it should go to the broodmare owners. And as a bonus, if you bring your mare to one of our stallions, you've got a chance to get a bonus.
We should also mention the involvement of Dairy Queen. Peter Foy isn't able to be here with us today, but I know he is in spirit, and we owe an awful lot to these sponsors. Tell me about Peter's involvement with this event.
Well, Peter is the guy who wanted to have a consolation race, and because we have to put our rules and our race conditions on 4 years ahead, they got Dairy Queen involved, and the tracks will match their contribution. So Dairy Queen put an extra $2,000 into the consolation races, the tracks do, And when the Downies took over and that group took over the track here in St. John, they were very interested in that because it's extra money. So we're looking at $60,000 total today. It'll be paid out.
That's tremendous. Also, the final coming up looks like it's wide open. You got a prediction in there?
Not really. I wouldn't like to predict because there were 4 divisions and only the top 2 came back. So they are the top 2 in each division. They went in about 2-1, all of them, and it depends on how the race breaks and who's the drivers. Most of these drivers can drive for big money, too.
Oh, you're not kidding on that account. Thanks very much, Ken, for joining us here today.
Thank you, Chris, and good luck with the network.
Okay. We're almost set now for race number 8. Our thanks to Ken Starrett, the Secretary-Treasurer of the Maritime Breeders Association. He's looking forward to this consolation and, of course, the final as well, and that comes up for a purse of $50,000 here in race number 12 today, but now we're going for $4,000 here in the Dairy Queen Consolation.
Starters for the 8th race going to the gate, and the gate is moving, approaching the top of the stretch. Field of 8. This is the Dairy Queen Consolation. 2-year-old pacing colts, the first $4,000. There's Lucky Louie Lutz and Emmons McKay. Surbred with Steve Mahar. Blue Meadow Major, Paul McDonald. Clonmel Patterson, Gil Barrio. Kaya's Pride with Dave O'Brien. Doozer, Frankie Fagan. Dexter's Best with Earl Smith. And Azari with Albert Bernard. Here they come. They're off it from the far outside. Azari wings for the lead, but up along the inside. Blue Meadow Major has it. He's the leader into the turn, and Lucky Louie Lutz gets away second. Dexter's Best off stride, scattering the trailers. Doozer's off stride. So is Shipred, and so is Clonmel Patterson. They're on up the backstretch, 3 leaders off by themselves. It is Blue Meadow Major. Then racing second on the rail now. It is Azari as they go racing on by the opening quarter. At 29-1, top turn, Blue Meadow Major. Azari, Lucky Louie Lutz is racing a third. Chaos Pride his fourth. Doozer's now fifth. Then it is Shipred, Clonmel Patterson, and Dexter's Best. And of course the inquiry sign is posted. They swing off the top turn and through the stretch. Here they come, racing to the half single file. Up front, Blue Meadow Major. Azari racing second. Lucky Louie Lutz is third. Here comes Doozer up strong on the outside. Goes to third. Lucky Louie Lutz now fourth. They're by the half, 102-2. Then Shipred outside. Follows cover is fifth. Then it's Kaya's Pride, Clonmel Patterson, Dexter's Best trailing. Round the turn to the 5/8 they go. Pacing with the lead, Blue Meadow Major, a length and a half. Azari racing a second. Lucky Louie Lutz is a third. Then Kaya's Pride is fourth. Shipred moving fifth. Dexter's Best, Doozer, and Clonmel Patterson. Blue Meadow Major, the leader by the 3/4 pole, 133-3. Top turn, Blue Meadow Major. Azari racing second. Lucky Louie Lutz is third. Shipred is fourth. Then it's Kaya's Pride, Dexter's Best. They're by the 7/8 now. They swing for home. Blue Meadow Major pacing away. Azari is second. Lucky Louie Lutz coming up on the outside. It is going to be Blue Meadow Major winning the Dairy Queen Consolation. Blue Meadow Major, then Kaya's Pride tight between Azari and Lucky Louie Lutz. Shipred, Dexter's Best, Clonmel Patterson, and Doozer. Time for the mile 2:03. And the inquiry sign is up for obvious reasons. Horses off stride in the first turn. And parading now, the winner of the 8th race, the $4,000 Dairy Queen consolation for 2-year-old pacing colts number 3, Blue Meadow Major, bay colt by Paris Dexter from Raybell Edna. She by Adios Larry. Owned, trained, and bred by Ralph Frizzle of Winslow, Prince Edward Island, with Paul McDonald driving. The Blue Meadow Major, win number 4 this year when he steps to a new win race record of 203. So our congratulations then to Ralph Frizzle and Blue Meadow Major and to Paul McDonald winning the Dairy Queen consolation.
Parade for you now. The starter is in race number 9. It's a condition pace going for a purse of $800. Horse number 1 is Sea Wind Bubbling, owned by the Sea Winds AMG Stables. The driver is Wayne Mahar. 2, Sugar Cookie, owned by Mel Land of Hopewell Cape. The driver, Frankie Fagan. The 3 is Clonakilty, owned by the Clonmel Stables and Ross Galbraith. Bob Kraft in the bike. The 4, DM Starboard, owned by Galen Dempsey of Rolling Dam. The driver, Steve Mahar. Next, the 6, Beauty Control, owned by Mel Blanchard of St. John. The driver, Brian Moore. Behind her comes Miss Tahoe, owned and driven by Tony Watson of St. John. The 8-horse Coal Sister, owned by Don and Theodore Bremner, Gordy Hennessy in the bike. And parading at the end of the field is horse number 9, Riverside Marcy, owned by Tom Everett of Woodstock, Gilles Barrio in the sulky. 8 starters here, race number 9. We go to post in about 7 minutes.
Doug Harkness rejoins us now as we get set for race number 9. Talk a little bit about that consolation, though, Doug. You hit it right on the head. We didn't get to talk about the race ahead of time, but you had a lot of confidence in Paul McDonald's colt today.
Yes, and I must say that that mare, Ralph Frizzell's Raybell Edna, just seems you could breed her to anything, and she always produces a real good racehorse, and Ralph has had a number of good ones over the year out of that mare, Raybell Edna, who was by Newport Robbie. I'm sorry, I better check that out, because I think it was Adios Larry, yes, Adios Larry. And she's been a great brood mare, and Paul's done well with this colt, and I think you'll find he's going to be a nice 3-year-old next year.
Lucky Louie Lutz is a pretty good horse off the gate, and Paul got around him with relative ease.
Yes, he did. Lucky Louie Lutz, I thought might take the top there, but Emmons, I think, when he saw the 3-horse coming, figured he'd get positioned very well. The tough horse here was Azeri, who raced Thursday night in Truro and came out of the 8-hole and was able to duck in the pocket there, and that kind of made the difference, because when Lucky Louie Lutz had to go, he had to go to the outside and just didn't get up for the deuce. 4th
place money to Albert Bernard with his finish with Azeri, and that colt went some tough trips earlier on this season. It'll be interesting to see how he makes out as a 3-year-old.
Another drop-off, and drop-offs have been very good this year.
And Kaya's Pride is a relative unknown, just her 6th lifetime start for David O'Brien to get 2nd place money and make the picket pay.
Yeah, of course, that's what makes the final interesting, too. We have some of these late boomers that are coming on, and for 2-year-olds, that's not uncommon. Some of them don't get underway until a little later on, and they seem to be peaking this time of the year in October. Last night, they tell me in Florida, a 2-year-old went there in 152.
Ooh, that's 5/8 track at Pompano Park.
Yes.
Wow, 52 flat, not bad. But, you know, it's almost Florida weather right here in St. John today.
Well, that's carrying a little bit too far, but it's beautiful weather for a beautiful fall day here in beautiful St. John, and we really appreciate it.
No kidding. Race number 9 is coming up next, Doug. How do you see this going?
Well, I like a 4-year-old Nuxlo Bell filly who was one of the top Sire Stakes fillies last year. And Clonakilty, she's won 3 races since she's come back this year. Robert Kraft has been driving her. I like her post position. I think that she'll be a factor here. I also like Sugar Cookie with Frank Fagan Jr. This is a nice contending filly this year. And I don't count out from even though it's the outside post 8, Cole's Sister with Gordy Hennessy. I think those 3 will be on the ticket. The 3, 2, and 8, nice tractor box.
Cole Sistar's coming off a pretty big win for Gordy Hennessy against this class, too.
Yes.
So Doug likes 3, 2, 8 in here. I'm going to agree with him as far as the Quinella goes. Clonakilty, to me, is the best in here. She's got a win in 2:02 this season. Big mile last year over Sydney as a 3-year-old, 2:01 and 1. Ross Galbraith is the trainer, Robert Kraft the driver. Last trip was over a sloppy track, so keep that in mind. She does have a chart in 2:03 the start before, and that was off a half in 1:02, so it's hard to tell what she could accomplish against this crew here. Sugar Cookie's my pick for second as well. Mel Land's had a lot of good fillies over the years.
Yes, he has.
And I'm going to go with the horse off the also eligible list, Riverside Marcy, for Gilles Barriol for third.
And you buy her as number 9.
Yeah, absolutely. She's being wagered on as horse number 9, but we'll score from post number 5 in place of Grammar Girl, who has been scratched. So there's our look at race number 9 here. You've got about 2 minutes now to wager on the 9th.
For the 9th race, moving in behind the gate. Gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch 8 starters. Seawind Bubbling, Wayne Mahar, Sugar Cookie, Frankie Fagan. Clonic Hilty, Bob Kraft, DM Starboard, Steve Mahar, Riverside Marcy, Jill Barrio, Beauty Control, Brian Moore, Miss Tahoe, Tony Watson, Cold Sister, Igor Hennessy. Recall. A recall on Seawind Bubbling. Recall. Unfastened equipment on Seawind Bubbling. It's fastened. We're ready to go to the gate again with 8 starters. Going to the gate once again for race 9 for fillies and mares. And once again, the starters for the 9th race for fillies and mares. In behind the gate, gate is moving. Seawind Bubbling with Wayne Mahar. Sugar Cookie, Frankie Fagan, Clonic Hilty, and Bob Kraft. DM Starboard with Steve Mahar. Riverside Marcy, Jill Barrio. Beauty Control with Brian Moore. Miss Tahoe, Tony Watson. And Cold Sister with Gordy Hennessy. Here they come. There, off at Riverside, Marcy goes quickly to the top. DM Starboard racing a second. Up along the inside, Seawind Bubbling racing third, and on the outside, Beauty Control moving a fourth and going on. Clonic Hilty is fifth at the rail, then Miss Tahoe, Cold Sister, and Sugar Cookie trails. Up the backstretch they drive to the quarter, and Riverside Marcy's in top at 2.5. DM Starboard racing second. Seawind Bubbling has a third. Clonic Hilty is now fourth, and Riverside Marcy, the leader, by the opening quarter in 31 seconds. Out of the top turn, Riverside Marcy, DM Starboard. Seawind Bubbling is third. Clonic Hilty is fourth. Miss Tahoe moving fifth. Then Beauty Control at the rail. Cold Sister and Sugar Cookie trails. They work through the stretch and come driving to the half. Up front and cutting it out. It is Riverside Marcy, but 2 again. DM Starboard is second. Seawind Bubbling third. Here comes Clonic Hilty rushing on from fourth. Half in 1:03. They're ready to turn for the 5/8, and it is Riverside Marcy. DM Starboard, Clonic Hilty out driving on to third. Seawind Bubbling fourth at the rail. Miss Tahoe outside follows cover fifth. Then Cold Sister, Beauty Control, and Sugar Cookie going on to the 3/4 pole. It is still Riverside Marcy. She has the best of it by 2 lengths as they go on by the 3/4 pole. 1:33 and 4. Top turn, Riverside Marcy DM starboard. Seawind bubbling back to third. Clonakilty is fourth. Miss Tahoe 3 wide, racing fifth. Sugar Cookie Cold Sister at the head of the lane. It is Riverside Marcy looking good and leading by 2 and going on. Riverside Marcy DM starboard. Sugar Cookie coming up along the inside, but up the line it is Riverside Marcy, Seawind bubbling, Sugar Cookie, DM starboard. Clonakilty, Miss Tahoe, Cold Sister, and Beauty Control. Time for the mile, 2:05. That's a triple for Jill. Driving triple so far now for Jill Barrio. Winning early with Prime Grand and Omaha Gambler. And now with number 9, Riverside Marcy. Baymare, 4 years, Benightly Blue Chip from Salome Yancey, she by Lehigh Hanover. Owned by Messrs. Burnham, Tilly, and Cobham of St. John, trained by Mike Morris, Jill Barrio driving. Win number 7 this year for Riverside Marcy this afternoon in 2:05. Driving triple for Jill Barrio. It gives him now 96 winners on the season here at EPR.
And we parade for you now the starters in race number 10. Race 10 is a condition pace going for a purse of $1,000. Horse number 1 is Courageous Josie, the free-legged pacer owned by Ricky Collins of St. John. Ricky does the driving. The 2, Sunny Mac, owned by Joanne Davies of St. John, the driver Gordy Hennessy. 3 has been scratched. Horse number 4 is Jacob Tutu, owned by Giselle LeBlanc of St. John, the driver Leroy Vincent Jr. 5, Sit and Wave, owned by Bob Shannon, the driver, note the driver changed to Sean Shannon. The 6 horse, 4 Men Only, owned by Clifford Garland of Carbonear, Newfoundland, the driver is Steve Mahar. Horse 7, Sweet Miss Marlowe, owned by Galen Dempsey of Rolling Dam, the driver will be Gilles Barrio. And horse 8, Comanche Fern, owned by Jim Fernley. The driver is Tim Merzetti. 7 starters here in race number 10, going for a purse of $1,000. They'll go to the gate in about 8 minutes.
Now for the 10th race, and Doug Harkness rejoins us again. The editor of Atlantic Post Calls is here to offer his insight once more, and purse of $1,000 is a pretty good class of horses in here. Again, number 3, Ordinary Joe, is scratched, so that leaves us 7 to select from in this event.
Yes, and a horse I like is the horse that Rick Collins has. Rick had the great mare last year, Minus Accolade. He's come up with another nice one this year from McLean and Truro for $2,000 in Courageous Josie. This is a free-legged mare. She won last week and fairly impressively against the field, just about as tough, and from the rail, I think she's going to be a major factor here today. Another mare I like in this race is a mare that can close well. She closed last week to within 2 lengths, finished 5th, and that's Sweet Miss Marlowe with Jill Barrio. And for my third shot here, a horse that was scratched lame last week, I kind of liked him, Jacob Tutu, but after coming off a lame start, I'm going to switch my selection to Sunny Mac with Gordy Hennessy from post number 2. So I like the 1, 7, and the 2.
Sunny Mac always seems to be handy.
Yes, he does, yeah.
So Doug likes 1, 7, 2 in here. I'm going to go to 4 Men Only with Steve Mahar. To me, this is a big driver change. You notice Sean Shannon has driven the last couple of times out. This horse loves the front end, Doug, and I think Steve Mahar is going to do the trick in here.
Well, he's got enough speed perhaps to get to the front end, but I don't like how he stopped the last time. Although he only got beat by 2 lengths, he was first and then ended up 6th. And and that's stopping.
That's going to deter you just a little bit,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hurt my confidence in this horse at all. I'm going to go with Steve Mahar. This horse has got 10 wins and 21 starts after coming over from Newfoundland. He's been doing quite well, has a win in 2 minutes flat with Mahar in the bike the last time he raced, so that's the key for me here. Courageous Josie, too. You talked about Ricky Collins luck, and Minus Accolade was actually the top pacing mare at Fredericton Raceway 2 years in a row, and he's got another good one here. Courageous Josie's going to be my pick for second, and for third I'm going to go with Sweet Miss Marlowe with Gilles Burial. Doug mentioned it as well, closed to within 2 lengths the last time, and that despite the fact that she was parked to the half in a minute flat, and that was with Gilles driving as well. So Doug likes the one to win, and I'm going to go with For Men Only, and after that we kind of agree a little bit, but we'll see how it all works out here. Good luck with your selections in race number 10.
Behind the gate, and the gate is moving. We approach the top of the stretch with a field of 7. There's Courageous Josie with Rick Collins. Sonny Mack, Cordy Hennessy. Jacob Tutu, Leroy Vincent, Sit and Wave with Sean Shannon. For Men Only with Steve Mahar, Sweet Miss Marlowe and Gilles Burial. And Comanche Fern with Tim Merzetti. Here they come. They're off, and it's For Men Only, quickly going to the top. From the outside, Miss Sweet Marlowe. Challenging second. Courageous Josie at the rail. She's racing third. Sonny Mack is fourth. Sit and Wave racing fifth. Jacob Tutu. And the trailer, as they go up the backstretch for the quarter, is Comanche Fern. Up front, For Men Only, cutting it out. And then racing second, Sweet Miss Marlowe. For Men Only, the leader by the opening quarter. 29-4, he's the leader into the turn for Men Only. Then Sweet Miss Marlowe racing second. Courageous Josie sitting pretty, she's third. Sonny Mack is fourth. Sit and Wave racing fifth. Comanche Fern and Jacob Tutu now trails. They swing off the top turn, and here they come through the stretch. They're racing to the half, and here comes Courageous Josie. Up on the outside, challenging for the top. For Men Only has it, Courageous Josie on the outside. They're neck and neck by the half. 101-1 into the turn now for the 5/8 to go. For Men Only shows the way. Courageous Josie on the outside second. Then at the rail, Sweet Miss Marlowe back to second. Courageous Josie outside third. Comanche Fern up along the inside is fourth. Sonny Mack outside following cover. He is fifth. Then a Sit and Wave and Jacob Tutu as they go to the 3/4 pole, and For Men Only, the leader by that marker in 1:31. Top turn for Men Only. Sweet Miss Marlowe racing second. Courageous Josie driving third. Then up along the inside, Comanche Fern is fourth. Sonny Mack, Sit and Wave. Jacob Tutu heading home it is for Men Only. Courageous Josie strong in the stretch. She's coming to the top. Courageous Josie, here comes Sonny Mack up on the outside, but Courageous Josie wins this one. Sonny Mack gets second, then Comanche Fern, then Sweet Miss Marlowe, Jacob Tutu, then tight between Sit and Wave and For Men Only. Time for the mile, 2:01 and 3. And parading now, the winner of our 10th race, number 1, Courageous Josie. Bay mare, 6 years by Courageous Red. From Avon Singalong, she by Scarlet Skipper. Owned, trained, and driven by Ricky Collins of St. John. The mare scoring her 13th winning trip this season, this afternoon in 2:01 and 3.
And we parade for you now the studders in race number 11, the Investors Group Financial Services Pace. It goes for a purse of $1,500. Once again, we'd like to welcome the folks from the Investors Group this afternoon. Hope you're enjoying your day. In this race, of course, named in your honor, there'll be a cooler presentation to the winner here of race number 11. Number 1 is Mr. Rude, owned by Sandra Foley of Fredericton. The driver, Steve Mahar. The 2, Armbro Foxy, owned by Linda Beckwith of Salisbury. Doug Beckwith in the bike. The 3 is Almahurst Hurricane, owned by Greg Fox, Elton Bustard, and Charles Calhoun. The driver is Danny Romo. The 4 is Calgary Flutie, owned by Robert Hume. The driver, Frankie Fagan. The 5, RB Gladimir, owned by Rosaire Barrio of Dieppe. Gilles Barrio aboard. 6 has been scratched. Horse 7 is the Final Brett, three-legged pacer, owned by Mike McDonald of Quebec. The driver, Gordy Hennessy. 6 starters here in race number 11, the Investors Group Financial Services Open Pace. A purse of $1,500 will go to post with the 11th race in about 7 minutes' time.
Open Pace here in race number 11, going for a purse of $1,500. But before we get to that, Doug, we'd like to remind all the racing fans in Nova Scotia that are joining us on the Maritime Teletrack Network about a big card at Inverness Raceway tomorrow.
Yes, we have the 3-year-old fillies going there in the Atlantic Sire Stakes Championship. I think they go for a purse of around $16,000. It's been a good division all year. Meductic Molly, the Fredericton or Woodstock-owned mare by the Denman, looks like she might be the best there. She drew post number 5, but Island Quisette has always been tough, although she disappointed last week in the Carl McKenzie. And another filly who's been coming on very well of late is the conditional filly Woodmere Connie. I kind of like those 3 in that. A big day at Inverness. They got a 10-dash card. They've had a big summer, and this is their first ever Atlantic Sire Stakes Championship.
Right, they're looking forward to that for sure. It's a 2 o'clock start there. You can catch that live, and if you're unable to make that trip to Inverness, why not catch the action on the Maritime Teletrack Network tomorrow from Truro Raceway, a 12-dash event starting at 1:30. Now, Doug, we'll get down to business here. Just had a chat with Romeo Boucher, who has connections with the 7-horse here, the Final Brett. He has taken the hobbles off, and he's going to leave them off for this start on the half-mile track, and Romeo's hoping that's not going to cause a problem, but this horse got a ton of speed.
Well, I see he qualified and win by 10 lengths with the hobbles off, a free-legged in Montreal, and of course the difference between a 5/8 and a half-mile track. But I think this horse certainly showed he could travel a half-mile track. He finished second to Alfred Alford in the Barrio McIsaac. He's the final son of Brett Hanover, who was a great champion in himself, and I think this horse looks like he's a lock on in this one. In this race, Almahurst Hurricane, a 4-year-old lag horse, I like his position here. He closed in 29-4 for victory his last time out in the open pace here. Calgary Flutie with Frank Fagan, always a contender, and of course you can't forget Mr. Rude on the rail, the best post position that he's drawn in recent starts. Although he was, I guess, a couple of starts ago, he just disappointed after leaving on the rail. But I think the Final Brett will win this one.
Well, he certainly should, and I wonder about that Barrio McIsaac. He was only beaten a length and a half by Alfred Alford. Is that the story of the year for Atlantic Coast Calls?
It's one of them, I'll tell you. It's one of them, certainly. Alfred Alford, not with a big effort, beating those 2 American colts that year, and was the richest race ever in the Maritimes, and it's quite a story.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I'll look for the Final Brett to do some damage in here as well. 2 wins in 17 starts this year, $38,000 in earnings to me. He's just the class of the field, and you can't go wrong with Gordy Hennessy. And I'm going to go with Doug as well. Just flip-flop the order a little bit, though. Calgary Flutie for Frank Fagan Jr. getting the catch drive, and it's good to see him back in the bike. Frankie got the win with this horse last time out, despite the Park quarter in 29-3. And I'll go with Almahurst Hurricane, so it's a Woodstock second and third place finish for both Doug Harkness and myself here. If you're watching at Bleachers, that's got to interest you a whole lot here on the Teletrack Network today.
And of course, the Final Brett breaks with 3-legged. It's a wide open race.
Yeah, anything could happen. We're into horse racing here. It's, as you know, 2 minutes to post time now for the 11th race. And right after that, the $50,000 final for the 2-year-old colts and the last dog to get.
Starters for the 11th race. In behind the gate, gate is moving. The 11th race, the Investor's Pace, purse $1,500. 6 starters behind the gate, Mr. Rude and Steve Mahar. Armbro Foxy, Doug Beckwith. Almahurst Hurricane, Danny Romo. Calgary Flutie and Frankie Fagan. R.B. Vladimir with Gil Barrio. The final Brett with Gord Hennessy. Here they come. They're off, and R.B. Vladimir goes winging for the lead. Calgary Flutie has it on the inside. R.B. Vladimir up and at him on the outside now. R.B. Vladimir takes the top. Calgary Flutie is racing second. Mr. Rude gets away third. They go on up the backstretch for the quarter. R.B. Vladimir by 2. Calgary Flutie. Then Mr. Rude is third. Armbro Foxy is fourth. Almahurst Hurricane and trailing the final Brett as they go racing up by the opening quarter in 28 and 2. Out of the top turn, R.B. Vladimir a length and a quarter. Calgary Flutie sitting a second. Mr. Rude is third. Armbro Foxy fourth. Almahurst Hurricane and the final Brett trailing as they swing off the top turn and drive on through the stretch. They come racing to the half up front, cutting it out. R.B. Vladimir has the best of the length and a half. Calgary Flutie is second. Mr. Rude is third. Here comes Almahurst Hurricane out moving fourth. They were by the half in 59 and 1. Into the turn now they go to the 5/8 pole. It is still R.B. Vladimir. Then Calgary Flutie is second. Armbro Foxy third. Mr. Rude outside moving fourth. Almahurst Hurricane and the final Brett. They're on to the 3/4. R.B. Vladimir holding his lead. Calgary Flutie up and at him hard on the outside. They're nose to nose as they go racing on by the 3/4 pole by that marker 1:28 and 2. Top turn R.B. Vladimir half a length. Calgary Flutie second. Mr. Rude right there third. Armbro Foxy, Almahurst Hurricane. The final Brett. They swing for home. 2 leaders neck and neck. R.B. Vladimir. Calgary Flutie now, and here comes Mr. Rude on the outside. Calgary Flutie, Mr. Rude, R.B. Vladimir at the line is going to be too tight to call between Mr. Rude and Calgary Flutie. Then R.B. Vladimir, then Almahurst Hurricane, the final Brett, and then Armbro Foxy. Time for the mile, 1:58 and 4. And the inquiry sign is posted. Judges investigating the films, looking at the films. Possible interference by number 1, Mr. Rude. On number 3, Almahurst Hurricane at the half. Possible interference by 1, Mr. Rude. On 3, Almahurst Hurricane at the half. Win photo between 1, Mr. Rude, and 4, Calgary Flutie.
Coming back to the winner's circle now with Mr. Rude. Steve, you had this horse rated extremely well, and you just got up to nip Frankie Fagan and Calgary Flutie at the wire.
Yeah, the race went pretty much as I expected. I thought RB Vladimir and Calgary Flutie, they were the early speed. If I could just keep my horse covered up and flush Frankie like at the half and let them race along, and then maybe I'd get them getting home, and it worked out perfect.
RB Vladimir and Calgary Flutie battled also through that third quarter, and that helped you out.
Yeah, that's you know, that was the whole makings of the race.
That quarter was in 29-1. Thanks very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Third quarter in 29-1 sets it up for Mr. Rude, the former horse of the year at Fredericton Raceway just last season, and we'll join the winners now, owner Sandra Foley and driver Steve Mahar with Mr. Rude, in a big trip for October. 1:58.4 is the final time.
This year for Mr. Rude this afternoon, 58-4. And we're pleased to have with us many staff members from the Investors Group in the winner's enclosure with us. This is their pace. Our congratulations then to Sandra Foley and Steve Mahar and Mr. Rude, winning the Investors Group Open Pace. Now, Exhibition Park is pleased to join with the Maritime Breeders Association and Dairy Queen to present the Dairy Queen Futurity for 2-year-old pacing colts. This is the final with a purse of $50,500. They're all 2-year-olds, they're all colts, they're all maritime bred. And we introduce now number 1, Ornery Dawn, a son of the Den Man, who is bred by John Babineau of Truro. The colt has been out 3 times, has won all 3 starts. He's trained and driven by Phil Pinckney for Les Blakey and Don Smith of Truro. Number 1, Ornery Dawn, and Phil Pinckney. Next, one of 4 colts in this race by the new sire Drop-Off. He's bred by Scott Weeks of Dartmouth, owned by Tom Hocko Jr. of Sydney, and Danny Romo parading number 2, Mr. Tom Mack. One of the early season sensations in maritime racing this year, Grampy's Accolade, a son of the great Winners Accolade. He's won 11 of 14. He's owned and was bred by Ron McDonald of Surrey, Prince Edward Island, trained and driven by Earl Smith. Number 3, Grampy's Accolade. Number 5 is Chatham Hoochie, a son of Chatham Light, bred by Mike Melanson, owned by Romeo Boucher of Moncton. The colt is trained by Elaine Bourgeois. Gordy Hennessy driving number 5, Chatham Hoochie. And one of the twins now, Pine Grove Russ, a son of Willow Bird, bred by Russell Burgoyne of Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia, owned by Russell in partnership with Sandy Fraser of Dartmouth, trained and driven by Russ Burgoyne. It's number 6, the twin, Pine Grove Russ. Now another son of Drop-Off. Fellow bred and owned by Shane Wilson of Salisbury, trained by Mike Campbell. Number 7 is Back Road Pride. Now number 8, winner of 6 in a row, son of Drop-Off, bred by Wallace Woods, Woodmere Farms in Charlottetown, owned by David Lund of Moncton, trained by Mike Morris, Jill Barrio, with number 8, Woodmere Windrop. And rounding out our field is Woodmere Top Cat, another son of Drop-Off, bred by Wallace Wood of Charlottetown, owned by Lloyd and Amy Denton of Fredericton, trained by Lloyd Denton, Steve Mahar, with number 9, Woodmere Top Cat. We are showcasing maritime bred performers this afternoon, and proud to do it with Dairy Queen. The Dairy Queen Futurity $50,500 final for 2-year-old pacing colts.
Moment has arrived, the moment we've all been waiting for here today. I guess you could call it the World Series of this card. The Dairy Queen Futurity final, Doug, they're going for $50,000. Is there a horse in this race that doesn't have a shot at winning?
Well, I guess if you looked at it, you'd have to say maybe Back Road Pride. Because of post 7, his shots of winning are not very likely. But nevertheless, this horse raced awful good. Just was beaten a length last week by Chatham Hoochie in the slowest of the 4 divisions. But post position kind of hurts here, and as we saw in the elimination heats, if you were 1 and 2, it certainly helped. But I think any horse really has a shot this race because we're not too sure how this race is going to unfold. I looked for a quick early speed duel in this race between maybe the first 4 horses, and that could leave some room for somebody to come and get it all at the end of it.
Talking about number 1, Ornery Dawn, Phil Pinckney can really get these horses ready for the big event. The horse has won all 3 of his lifetime starts, and he's attracting a lot of attention on the tote board here in the early going.
He's the early favorite, and I'll tell you, this horse was the established favorite last week, just in his 3rd lifetime start. An interesting story in that Lee Blakey, who owns this horse with Don Smith, had a horse in one of the MBA. It was the Rothman Sire Stakes at that time that Phil Pinckney developed. Took the mare out of the field. I think it was sometime in late August. Her name was Who's to Care. She finished 2nd as a 2-year-old and went on to win the championship as a 3-year-old. So a late bloomer with Phil Pinckney and the Blakey connections certainly is no surprise. And this colt certainly deserves the respect he's getting. And as I say, Grampy's Accolade has been good all this year rather. He kind of looked like he was all in, though, when he was forced to get no on the final strides last week, and maybe the long campaign is telling, but he'll be off, and Earl Smith is big when the money's down.
It's really a shame that Noah isn't getting the shot to race in this event because the Webbies have been such tough competitors all their career in the harness racing game, and to me, Noah was another late developing colt that really had a legitimate shot at this one.
Yes, and of course, the horse that did get in, I thought deserved a legitimate shot to get in, and that was Woodmere Top Cat. Raced real big here last week, and just to get beat by Woodrow Winthrop and Pine Grove Russ, an historian himself. And I'll tell you, if they cut out some wicked fractions, Russell Burgoyne's been in this winner's circle before in the Dairy Queen Futurity, so don't count him out either.
No, you can never do that, and you know something wouldn't have been special if Russ had qualified and Sandy had done the same, and Sandy was moving right along there. Of course, we're talking about 2 twins, 2-year-olds, racing very competitive all summer long. It's amazing, and we almost had both of them right here in the Dairy Queen Futurity final.
Yeah, so it's a big thing, and of course Pine Grove Sandy is in the Atlantic Sire Stakes final in Truro a week from Sunday, so I think these twins have set world records because Pine Grove Sandy was out the other night and took a mark of 2, 2, and 4.
That's an incredible feat. Well, don't keep us in suspense any longer. How do you see this one coming together?
I like Woodrow Winthrop, even though he is leaving from post number 8. I think Joe Berry will get this colt set, and what I like about him is the fact that he's a good closer, and I think he'll have enough in reserve to overtake the pace setters here, so I like him, and I have to go with Grampy's Accolade, and Ornery Dawn is my 2nd and 3rd choice, but it's a wide open field, and really, as I say, I think the 8 will be in the ticket. Anything else, really, I think it's up to conjecture.
Okay, well, I'm going to conjecture a little bit. Woodmere Windrop's my pick to win as well. To me, he's the most consistent colt in the field. Last quarter's consistently under 30 seconds. I don't know what's going to be going through Gilberio's head right at this point, but I can't think of a hotter driver at Exhibition Park. And I'd look for him to leave a touch and see if he can get a seat in the early going. Who knows? He might be able to last the whole race on the outside. If he does, though, it's going to be pretty tough on him. And as you say, Doug, it could be some early fractions here that are really quick.
And of course, when you want to look at drivers, too, you got to look at Phil Pinckney, Earl Smith, Russell Burgoyne, Steve Mahar. They all big with the big money is up, so it's a tough one.
Yeah, Steve Mahar is going to be my selection for 2nd, actually, off the also eligible list. Woodmere Top Cat, you mentioned. Steve gets his first ever drive on this 3-legged 2-year-old. Gordy Hennessy's been handling him all summer long, but Gordy takes the drive on Chatham Hoochie today. This fellow is really tough. Got a bad break on the draw last week in the eliminations. He gets a little better slot, though, scoring from post 4, but for wagering purposes, he's going to be horse number 9. And my 3rd selection, Grampy's Accolade, pretty hard to leave him off the board. He's never been worse than 1st or 2nd in his career. And we're all set now to send it out to Ingham Palmer, track announcer here for the $50,000 final of the Dairy Queen Futurity. The money's on the line, and the moment has arrived for these 2-year-old colts. Thanks to Doug Harkness for his analysis, and we'll send it upstairs to Ingham Palmer here very shortly.
Earl Smith. Woodmere Topcat, Steve Mahar, Chatham Hoochie, Gord Hennessy, Pine Grove Russ, Russ Burgoyne, Backroad Pride, Mike Campbell, Woodmere, Windrop, Gilberto. Here they come. They're off. Grappy's Accolade takes him out of there from the outside. Woodmere Windrop drives on to second. Mr. Tom Mack moves up on the inside. He's now second. Woodmere Windrop is on the outside, racing third. There's a hole there for him. They go by the eighth pole. Up the backstretch for the quarter now. It is Grampy's Accolade. Then Mr. Tom Mack and up on the outside. There it goes. Woodmere Windrop. He's on to second, and he goes winging for the lead. And they're neck and neck as they race up by the opening quarter, 29-1. Into the top turn, Woodmere Windrop, Grampy's Accolade. That is Woodmere Topcat. Up on the outside, challenging third. Mr. Tom Mack is fourth. Chatham Hoochie racing fifth. Ornery Don, Pine Grove Russ, Backroad Pride. Through the stretch they come to the half, and it's Woodmere Windrop. Grampy's Accolade racing second. Tipping out, Woodmere Topcat gets to 3 wide as they go racing out by the half. By the half and 58-4, and they're tight as they go by the half. Into the turn it is Woodmere Windrop, Woodmere Topcat, then Grampy's Accolade. On the rail, Mr. Tom Mack. Up on the outside, Chatham Hoochie goes to fifth. Then it's Pine Grove Russ, Ornery Don, and trailing Backroad Pride. Onto the three-quarters, Woodmere Topcat moving out now. Has it by a length and a half, and he's moving away. It is Woodmere Topcat. 128-2 by the three-quarter pole. Top turn, Woodmere Topcat. Chatham Hoochie a strong second coming on. Then Grampy's Accolade is third. Woodmere Windrop fourth. Ornery Don's a wide fifth. Heading home, Woodmere Topcat. Chatham Hoochie coming on strong. Woodmere Topcat on the inside. Chatham Hoochie on the outside. It is going to be Woodmere with Topcat tight at the line. Woodmere Topcat. And then Chatham Hoochie. Ornery Don a little too tight to call for first. Time for the mile. 1:59-3. Judges have called for a photo for win. Between 9, Woodmere Topcat, and 5, Chatham Hoochie. Photo for win. And the inquiry sign is posted for 2 reasons. Possible pylon violation by Mr. Tom Mack going into the first turn, and possible interference at the half by 3, Grampy's Accolade, on 9, Woodmere Topcat. 2 reasons for the inquiry sign being posted. And again, the judges have called for a photo for win. Win photo. While we wait for the photo, I must point out quite a testimony to the strides and the success of our breeding program here in the Maritimes. The Maritime Breeders Association to be congratulated for that. Not too long ago, just a few years, maybe 10, 12, we were looking for our first 2-minute mile in the Maritimes. Here this afternoon, we've seen a Maritime bred 2-year-old. We don't know which one yet, but pace in 1:59 and 3. That is a track record here at EPR for a Maritime bred 2-year-old. And we know who the winner is now. It is number 5, Chatham Hoochie.
They've just read through the results of the photo, and Chatham Hoochie with a tremendous stretch drive. Gordy Hennessy's triumphant. Did you think that you had it? It was such a close photo.
No, it was a terrific race down the stretch. We were just battling stride for stride, and my horse, just the last stride, I got Stevie, I thought. But, you know, nothing's confirmed until the photo's out. I'm so excited. Both of those horses are mine, and we got it all today. I'm so happy.
Can you give enough credit to Woodmere Topcat? He had some trouble throughout the mile, and you're familiar with him, too.
Yes, I knew he was going to have to go a tough mile as well as me. We both rode the whole mile. Both of them deserve full credit, and the trainers of both horses done a super job preparing them for this race.
Thanks very much, Gordy. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
We'll turn it over to Ingham Palmer now and wish the greatest congratulations to Romeo Boucher and his colt Chatham Hoochie, but also Woodmere Topcat with a tough race today. He had some traffic trouble at the half.
Now in the winners enclosure, the winner of the Dairy Queen Futurity final, Chatham Hoochie. Big surprise, paying $55.60 to win the colt by Chatham Light from Slidini. She by Escape Artist, owned by Romeo Boucher of Moncton, trained by Alain Bergeron with Gordy Hennessy driving. Quite an effort altogether, and Chatham Hoochie's part getting his third winning trip this season and winning in 1:59 and 3. Congratulations to Romeo, Alain, and Gordy, and Chatham Hoochie, winner of the Dairy Queen Futurity. We're pleased to have with us in Victory Lane this afternoon Eric Barry from the Rothsay Avenue store, along with Ken Starrett, of course, from the Maritime Breeders Association. Topping off quite an afternoon of racing. Chatham Hoochie, a Maritime champion, son of Romeo's old friend Chatham Light, a reigning world champion. Chatham Light still the holder of the world records for 2-year-old pacing colts, 2 miles. And the result of the 12th race, official Ornery Dawn was 3rd. Mr. Tom Mack was 5th. Grampy's Accolade 6th. Noah was scratched. Chatham Hoochie, your race winner. Pine Grove Russ was 4th. Backroad Pride 7th. Woodmere Windrop was 8th. And Woodmere Topcat was 2nd. And here are the times for your record mile. The quarter, 29 and 1. The half, 58 and 4. 3/4, 1:28 and 2. And the mile at 1:59 and 3. Checking your card, 3, 5, 6 scratched. 1, 4, 7, 8, 2. The mile at 1:59 and 3. A track record for 2-year-old pacing colts. So that's our card for this afternoon, folks. We thank you very much for your attendance here at EPR and with us around the Maritime Teletrack Network. Our pari-mutuel handle, 81,451. For that, we thank you very much. No racing Wednesday. Our next live card next Saturday afternoon.